It was the great Brown family dream. Kody Pass, a sprawling plot of land in Flagstaff, Arizona, that was supposed to be their forever home. A compound where Kody Brown and his 4 wives would build their houses, live side by side, and grow old together as one massive, plural family. It was the dream Kody sold to his wives to uproot their entire lives in Las Vegas, the promise he used to justify the financial strain and the emotional turmoil. But the dream was a lie. The land was never built on. It became a graveyard of promises, a symbol of the bitterness, the betrayals, and the resentment that tore the Brown family to pieces. And now, in the explosive 6th episode of Season 20, we are forced to watch the agonizing, final, and pathetic end of that dream. We are watching the family's last remaining tie get severed, not with a clean break, but with a pathetic, awkward, and financially desperate Zoom call. This is the recap for We're Not Brother Husbands, an episode that proves Kody Brown has learned absolutely nothing, and that Christine has one last, shocking request for her new husband. The episode kicks off with a scene that is so uncomfortable, so baffling. It could only exist in the Sister Wives universe. We are with Christine and her new husband, David Woolley, who are, by all accounts, disgustingly happy. But Christine has one lingering piece of unfinished business, and it involves Kody. In a confessional, Christine explains that she still wants her children who are close to Kody, like truly, to have a relationship with him. But she also, bafflingly, wants her new, happy, normal husband, David, to have some kind of relationship with her ex-husband, Kody. She is pushing for an improbable brother-husbands scenario, not in a plural marriage sense, but in a bizarre, extended family dinner sense. She explains this to a visibly confused David, who, like any normal person, seems to want absolutely nothing to do with the man-bun narcissist who spent a decade emotionally abusing his new wife. David's face says it all. Why would I ever want to hang out with this guy? But Christine is insistent, claiming it's for the good of the kids and for future family events. This entire plotline is a stunning look into the psychological pretzel that Kody Brown has twisted his family into, where even in her new, free life, Christine still feels some bizarre obligation to make Kody feel included in the happiness he actively tried to destroy. But the real, agonizing core of this episode is the final, pathetic sale of Kody Pass. Kody, in his infinite wisdom, has gathered his 2 remaining exes, Meri and Janelle, for an awkward Zoom call to discuss a full price offer they've received on the land. From the second the call connects, the tension is so thick it's suffocating. Kody, in a desperate attempt to pretend he's just a normal guy, tries to make small talk. He asks Meri how she is, and she responds with a one-word, "I see fine." He asks Janelle what she's up to, and she gives a cold, curt answer. Both Janelle and Meri have made it clear in their confessionals that they are done. They are not his friends, they are not his family, they are his ex-business partners, and this is a transaction, period. Meri, in her interview, is ice cold, stating that after all the horrible things Kody has said to her and about her, she has drawn a hard boundary and refuses to engage in his fake pleasantries. Janelle, for her part, is just done with the financial games and says she will believe the sale is real when the money is in her bank account. The business part of the call is even more of a disaster. Kody explains the offer, but the real issue comes to light: how the money will be split. The land is currently under Kody's name, and he and Robyn have the largest, most valuable plot. Janelle, who poured her entire life savings into this land, is on high alert, making it clear she expects to be paid back in full for what she put in. The discussion becomes a tense, passive-aggressive, legal negotiation. Kody, in his confessional, whines that he is just looking for closure and that when the property closes, they can all finally be done. But the women know this is one last chance for Kody and Robyn to screw them over financially. We even learn that Kody was considering going behind Meri's back, a plan that was likely only stopped by the show's producers. This isn't a family meeting. It's a deposition. It is the sad, bitter, and financially motivated funeral for the dream of Kody Pass, and it proves that the only thing holding these people together for the last decade wasn't love. It was a bad real estate deal, and if you thought this episode was just a sad look at the family's end, you were wrong. It is also a terrifying deep dive into Kody and Robyn's complete and total detachment from reality. We cut to the McMansion, where Kody is having a one-on-one with his last wife standing, Robyn. And Kody, with all the self-awareness of a rock, starts bragging. He tells Robyn that he gets so many emails and messages from women who have crushes on him, women who are interested in him, women who apparently see this angry, bitter, ramen-noodled-haired man and think, yes, I want that. He then, with a straight face, discusses with Robyn whether polygamy is still on the table. He seriously floats the idea of bringing another interested sister wife into their life. And what's even more insane is that Robyn, the wife who systematically pushed every other wife out, who complained for years about the scraps of time she got with Kody, actually considers it. She briefly entertains the idea, only to later shut it down. But for one fleeting moment, we see the delusion in its purest form. They are both so addicted to the principle and the show that even after the entire family has burned to the ground around them, they are sitting in the ashes wondering if they should light another match. This is the interested sister wife the user's title refers to, and it's not a person. It's a shared psychosis between Kody and Robyn. In one of the episode's more bizarre and pathetic side plots, we see Meri and Janelle, two women who can't stand to be on a Zoom call with their ex-husband, get together in person to build a desk. The entire scene is a metaphor for their relationship. It's awkward, it's forced, and it's clear they have absolutely nothing in common besides their shared trauma. While they manage to be cordial, this isn't the grand sisterly reconciliation some fans were hoping for. It's just two women, forced by a television contract to interact, trying to assemble a piece of furniture while navigating the elephant in the room, that their lives were destroyed by the same man. We also get an update that Janelle is moving forward with her own life, starting a farm in North Carolina, putting as many miles as possible between herself and the toxicity of Kody and Robyn. It's a small, hopeful note in an episode otherwise defined by bitterness and delusion. This episode was the final nail in the coffin of the Brown family. We watched the last remnants of their shared property be bitterly divided. We watched Christine try to create a bizarre brother-husband peace treaty, and we watched Kody and Robyn sink even further into their fantasy world where he is a desirable patriarch and she is the noble, long-suffering head wife. It is, in short, a glorious disaster. For years, we have watched the agonizing slow-motion implosion of the Brown family. We watched Kody Brown, the self-proclaimed patriarch, systematically betray and abandon 3 of his 4 wives, one by one. We saw him trade in his entire 18-person family for a monogamous life with his soulmate Robyn in a sprawling McMansion, while the rest of his family was left to fend for themselves. But many fans held out hope, believing that Kody's relationship with his wives was one thing, but his love for his children was another. That hope is now officially dead. In the most devastating and pathetic confirmation of his total failure as a father, it has been revealed that Kody's own daughter, Madison "Maddie" Brush, went through an entire pregnancy and never told him. This wasn't an accident. It was a choice. This is the story of how Kody Brown's narcissism and neglect became so toxic that his own children are now divorcing him, erasing him from their lives, and robbing him of the milestones he believes he is entitled to. The bombshell that proves the family is broken beyond all repair came from the most reliable source possible, Janelle Brown. In a new explosive teaser for the current season of Sister Wives, Janelle is sitting in her confessional when a producer asks her a simple, direct question. Is Kody in the loop about his daughter Maddie's 4th pregnancy? Janelle, without even blinking, delivers a line that sums up 2 decades of Kody's failure. She just shakes her head and says, no. Maddie doesn't really even tell him that she's pregnant. He'll find out. Let that sink in. This isn't Gwendolyn, who is openly at war with Kody. This is Maddie, Janelle's firstborn, the first biological child of the OG 3 wives, the one who always seemed the most level-headed. She carried a child for 9 months, the child who would be Kody Brown's 9th grandchild, and made the conscious decision to completely exclude him from that joy. The scene is a brutal confirmation of what we've all suspected. The estrangement isn't just with the angry boys, Gabe and Garrison. It is complete. It is systemic. Kody Brown is no longer the patriarch. He's a stranger who has to wait to see an Instagram post to learn he has a new grandchild. Janelle didn't just drop the bomb. She explained exactly why it was dropped. The show cuts back to a raw, painful conversation, filmed months earlier, where Janelle is explaining to Kody why their kids are so estranged. Kody, in his typical, baffled, narcissistic rage, cannot understand it. He asks Janelle, "Why didn't she call me to tell me she was having a baby?" And Janelle, finally done with his victim act, lays out the cold, hard truth. She explains that Maddie feels her father hasn't shown interest in the children she already has. Janelle reveals that Maddie has observed that Kody has not been out to North Carolina to see her or his grandchildren since her daughter, Evie, was born. Evie is now 3 years old. Kody Brown, the man who cries on camera about loyalty and family, has not bothered to get on a plane to visit his own granddaughter in 3 entire years. Maddie's logic, as explained by Janelle, is heartbreakingly simple and completely justified. Maddie's like, "Why would I tell him that I'm having another one? He hasn't really shown that much interest in the other two." In that one sentence, Maddie exposed Kody's entire family man facade as a complete and total fraud. Kody's reaction to this news is, predictably, not one of shame or self-reflection. It is a torrent of defensive, pathetic excuses and bitter blame-shifting. In his own confessional, Kody tries to spin the narrative, claiming it's not a fair expectation for grandparents to be in their grandchildren's lives all the time, especially since Maddie moved to an entirely different coast. He complains that he has work and a life in Flagstaff, a life, we all know, that consists of sitting in Robyn's mansion and managing his online business. But then, the true, venomous reason for his estrangement comes out. Kody alleges that his own children are to blame. He tells Robyn, "You saw Madison take her kids and scuttle them away from me," painting himself as the victim of a grand conspiracy. He claims that every time he does talk to Maddie, she spreads gossip about me to the rest of the family. And then, in the single most revealing and damning statement of his entire life, Kody wails that his children are purposefully leaving me out of their lives to punish me for a crime I didn't commit. I am only guilty of not falling madly in love with their mothers. And there it is. He said it. He admitted that because his love for Janelle faded, his role as a father and grandfather to her children became a burden, a crime he was being punished for. He doesn't see them as his children. He sees them as the leftovers of a failed marriage, and Maddie has finally decided to take her family off his plate for good. For over a decade, we watched the Brown family present themselves as one big, happy, plural family. But for just as long, we saw the cracks. We saw the simmering resentment, the bitter jealousies, and the slow, agonizing decay of their relationships. When Christine, Janelle, and finally Meri all left Kody Brown, we thought the war was over. We thought the story was about the wives finally finding freedom. We were wrong. The real story, the much darker story, was just beginning to be told. Because the war wasn't just between the wives, it was between the first wife and the children. And the one to finally light the match and burn the last bridge to the ground was Christine's own daughter, T., who went public with a series of bombshell accusations so devastating, they recontextualized everything we thought we knew about the family, painting Meri Brown not as a victim, but as a villain. The most shocking revelations in the Sister Wives universe are no longer happening on the show. They're happening on the outside, on social media, and on the paid subscription sites of the Brown children, who are finally cashing in on their own trauma. It was on her Patreon channel that T. Brown, joined by her husband Tony, finally unleashed decades of pent-up resentment against Kody's first wife. T., in a raw and unfiltered live stream, confirmed what had been whispered about for years, that Meri Brown was, in her words, aggressive, rude, and scary. But she didn't stop there. T. went on to accuse Meri of being very emotionally and verbally abusive to all of us when we were younger. She painted a dark picture of her childhood, one where Meri was not the fun aunt or sister mom, but a source of fear. T. claimed that of all the Brown children, she and her siblings believed she got the brunt of it, suggesting she was Meri's primary target. This wasn't just a simple disagreement. This was a public accusation of long-term abuse that, according to Kody, has permanently severed their relationship for good. This was not just Kody airing old grievances. This was a final judgment. The most devastating part of her confession was the sentence she handed down to Meri, one that has no chance of appeal. Kody stated clearly and unequivocally that Meri Brown is not, nor will she ever be, part of my life nor my husband's or my kids' lives. She directly and explicitly linked this decision to the trauma I experienced as a child. This is the ultimate consequence of the failed plural family. Kody was drawing a permanent boundary in the sand, ensuring that her own children, Meri's grandchildren in the plural sense, will never even know her. She admitted that while she and Meri are cordial when they have to be, likely due to both being involved in the LuLaRoe MLM scheme, the family relationship is, in her eyes, dead and buried forever. She effectively labeled Meri not a very good parent, and as a result has banned her from being a grandparent. For Meri, who has lost her husband, her sister wives, and her place in the family, this final rejection by one of the kids is perhaps the most brutal blow of all. And if you thought this was just Kody being dramatic, you are dead wrong. This was not an isolated incident. It was the opening of the floodgates. Almost immediately after Kody's claims, her siblings started backing her up, adding their own terrifying details. Her brother, Kody Brown, went on his own live stream and said that the words abrasive and kind of mean are not strong enough words to describe Meri. Then, Kody dropped the most chilling line of all, implying the abuse was far worse than just words. When asked if Meri's behavior moved past verbal, Kody gave a dark, knowing look and said, "Oh, it moves so far past verbal." Verbal basically stopped existing. But it was Kody's sister, Gwendolyn, who put the final nail in the coffin. Gwendolyn confirmed that she, too, thought Meri was scary and rude as a child, and then she corroborated Kodi's claim, alleging that she had personally witnessed Meri get physical with Kody. Suddenly, this was no longer a story of a mean aunt. It was a unified, multi-child accusation of physical and emotional abuse that has been hidden from the cameras for decades. So what exactly did Meri do? While the Brown kids remain somewhat vague on the worst of the past verbal allegations, fans and the kids themselves have pointed to a clear pattern of behavior. The prevailing theory is that in the chaotic Lehigh household, where Janelle was at work and Christine was overwhelmed with cooking and homeschooling, Meri, who only had one child, was appointed the role of the family disciplinarian. But according to Kody and her siblings, this wasn't discipline. It was tyranny. We even saw glimpses of it on the show, like the infamous scene where Meri loudly and publicly shamed a teenage Kody in front of the entire family for wearing a low-cut shirt. Fans also point to the massive fallout over the LuLaRoe MLM. Both Kody and Janelle's daughter, Maddie, went into business under Meri, and both relationships imploded, with allegations that Meri was a monster to work with and expected them to prioritize the business over their families. But for Kody, the betrayal is also deeply personal and tied to her mother, Christine. In her same Patreon session, Kody slammed Meri for the catfish scandal, stating it was unfair for Meri to be mad at Kody when she cheated first and gave up on the relationship. This proves that for Kody, this isn't just about her own childhood trauma. It's about loyalty. She is and always will be on Team Christine, and in her eyes, Meri is just as bad, if not worse, than Kody. The accusations from Kody, Kody, and Gwendolyn have drawn a new permanent set of battle lines. It's no longer about Kody. It's about the deep, unhealed wounds from their childhood, and the kids are finally picking their sides. Kody has made her choice. She has sided completely with her mother, Christine, and has even doubled down in her support of her father, Kody, while simultaneously excommunicating Meri. We have learned that Meri did apparently try to apologize to Kody, but Kody rejected it, saying the apology was non-specific and didn't take full responsibility. There is no coming back from this. The dream of Kody Pass is dead, but the dream of the plural family, of the sister moms, and of the 18 children who would all be one family, is also a complete and total illusion. Mykelti's accusations have confirmed that this was never a happy family. It was a collection of smaller, fractured families forced to live under one roof and under the aggressive rule of the first wife. Mykelti isn't just slamming Meri. She is rewriting the entire history of sister wives, and she is writing Meri completely out of it. For more than a decade, we were sold a lie. We were told the Brown family was one, unified, plural family, where all 18 children were loved equally, and all 4 wives were dedicated sister moms. But as the empire of Kody Brown has crumbled to dust, the children, now adults, are finally speaking out. And they are painting a picture so dark, so toxic, and so deeply manipulative. It changes everything we thought we knew. The war wasn't just between the wives. It was a cold war for their father's attention, a war that one wife, Robyn Brown, was destined to win at all costs. Now, Kody's daughters, one by one, are opening up. But this isn't a story of a simple disagreement. It is a unified, heartbreaking chorus of exposure, revealing a calculated system of favoritism, neglect, and psychological warfare that has left them, in their own words, manipulated, abandoned, and erased. You cannot understand the depths of this family's dysfunction without first understanding what happened to Isabel Brown. This was the moment that, for millions of fans, the mask of the loving patriarch didn't just slip. It was violently ripped off. Isabel, Christine's daughter, had suffered for years from a debilitating, painful case of scoliosis. The family had watched her cry, watched her wear a painful brace, and watched her curve get progressively worse. The solution was a major, terrifying surgery on the East Coast. And when the time came for Isabel to fly out for this life-altering procedure, her father, Kody Brown, refused to go. His excuse? The pandemic. He couldn't risk leaving his tender-aged children, Robyn's children, for the weeks required to quarantine. He couldn't be away from Robyn. And so, in the most defining moment of his daughter's young life, a moment she was terrified for, her father chose to stay home. We all watched the heartbreaking scene where Isabel, through sobs, had to beg her dad to be there, and he still said no. Christine, a newly single mother in all but name, was forced to take her daughter alone, to hold her hand as she went under, and to help her through the excruciating recovery, all while Kody and Robyn were safe in their million-dollar mansion, protecting their perfect, self-contained family unit. If Isabel's story was one of passive, soul-crushing neglect, her sister Gwendolyn's is one of active, open warfare. Gwendolyn, the most outspoken of all the Brown children, has used her YouTube channel to systematically dismantle Robyn's entire victim narrative. Gwendolyn has stated flat out that she does not really like Robyn. She has called her manipulative and has said that watching Robyn's tearful performances on the show makes me like her less. Gwendolyn exposed the fact that Robyn, who cries on camera about wanting a big, happy family, is the very one who has made it clear she no longer sees herself as part of the family and has no real interest in a relationship with the other Brown kids. But Gwendolyn's deepest resentment is reserved for how Robyn's presence poisoned her relationship with her father. Gwendolyn has tearfully confessed how painful it is to watch Kody be a present, loving, and doting father to Robyn's children he is with every single day, when he was, in her words, a ghost in her own childhood. She resents Robyn not just for stealing her father, but for being the gatekeeper to him, confirming that if she ever does have an issue with Robyn, Kody immediately becomes enraged, defending Robyn as a perfect, magical, beautiful being. In Gwendolyn's eyes, Robyn is not a stepmother. She is the puppet master who holds all the strings, and Kody is the willing puppet who cut his other children loose. For years, there was one exception to the OG kids' resentment, Mykelti. Christine's other daughter, Mykelti, had always been Team Robyn. She lived with Robyn for a time. She maintained a close bond, and she was the one daughter who seemed to bridge the gap. She even invited both Robyn and Christine to be at the birth of her twins, creating an excruciatingly awkward hospital scene. Robyn, for her part, used this bond as her proof that she wasn't the problem, that she was capable of having a good relationship with the other kids if they would just let her in. Well, that bridge has now been nuked from orbit. In a stunning recent reversal, Mykelti has finally opened up, and her story is the most damning of all. In paid private fan videos, Mykelti has reportedly exposed Robyn for, in her words, preying on her and using her as a weapon. Mykelti claims that her once close relationship was a manipulation, that Robyn used her as a pawn in her games against the other wives. This has all come to a head over a devastating lie. Reports allege that Christine is heartbroken after discovering Robyn had been lying to her about something involving Mykelti, a lie that caused her daughter real, tangible pain. This is the ultimate betrayal. The one daughter who defended Robyn, the one who gave her cover, now claims she was a victim all along, a tool used by Robyn to push her agenda. You want to see the dysfunction in plain sight? You don't have to look any further than the screen. Let's compare the stories of two daughters. On one side, you have Isabel, Kody's biological child, begging her father to come to her major, terrifying spinal surgery, and he refuses, citing COVID rules that he and Robyn, and only they followed. On the other side of the screen, we see new footage from this season. We see Kody and Robyn's biological daughter, Aurora, getting her ears pierced. And who is right there, holding her hand, comforting her and coaching her through the minor, insignificant pain? Kody Brown. He was present for a piercing, but absent for a surgery. But it gets even more bizarre. In another recent episode, we see Aurora, now a grown adult, introducing a new boyfriend. Kody doesn't just meet him. He sits him down for a cringy, bizarre, and controlling purity lecture, telling this young man that until he marries Aurora, he is kissing another man's wife. As Robyn sits by, visibly uncomfortable but doing nothing, Kody flexes his fatherly muscles in the most inappropriate way possible. The contrast is sickening. The OG daughters like Isabel, Maddie, and Gwendolyn were neglected, ignored, and abandoned during their life's biggest moments. But Robyn's daughters get a fully present, albeit cringy, father, one who is deeply, weirdly, and obsessively involved in their daily lives. Kody Brown is now living in the world he and Robyn built. And it is a very, very small one. The final heartbreaking proof of his failure as a father came from Janelle's daughter, Maddie. We learned, through Janelle, that Maddie went through her entire third pregnancy and never told her father. Kody had to find out, like a stranger, after the fact. And when he angrily confronted Janelle, demanding to know why his daughter wouldn't tell him she was having a baby, Janelle laid out the cold, hard truth. Maddie's response was simple: "Why would I? He hasn't shown any interest in the kids I already have." Maddie confirmed that Kody had not bothered to visit her or his grandchildren in 3 years. He hadn't been to her home since her daughter Evie was born. Why would she invite him into a new joy when he has shown active disinterest in her current ones? And that is the final verdict, delivered by the children themselves. The daughters of Kody Brown have opened up, and they are all saying the same thing. Robyn Brown didn't just join the family, she replaced it. She and Kody created a new, exclusive, monogamous family, and they locked the door behind them, leaving the other 13 children out in the cold, forced to press their faces against the glass, watching a man they used to call Dad be a father to someone else. For decades, the Brown family narrative was carefully controlled. We were told this was a story of faith, family, and plural love. When the family finally imploded, we thought we knew who the villains were. Kody, the narcissistic patriarch, and Robyn, the manipulative favorite wife. The other wives, Christine, Janelle, and Meri, were painted as the victims, the escapees who finally found freedom. But the children, now grown and unbound by contracts and NDAs, are beginning to speak. And their truth is rewriting the entire history of this family. Christine's daughter, Mykelti Brown, has stepped into the spotlight, not to celebrate her mother's freedom, but to point the finger at a different villain, one who was hiding in plain sight all along. In a series of shocking, unfiltered confessions, Mykelti has blasted Kody's first wife, Meri Brown, as a monster. But as the dust settles, a new, more complicated question has emerged. After leveling accusations of abuse, is Mykelti still, somehow, being too nice? The accusations that blew the lid off the family's carefully crafted image came from, of all places, Mykelti's paid Patreon account. In a subscription-only live stream, Mykelti and her husband, Tony, finally unleashed what they claim is decades of suppressed truth about the family's real dynamic. Mykelti, reading from prepared notes, did not hold back. She stated flat out that Meri Brown was very emotionally and verbally abusive to all of us when we were younger. She labeled Meri's behavior as aggressive, rude, and scary, painting a dark picture of the childhood we all thought was so idyllic. She claims that of all the Brown children, her siblings agree that she got the brunt of it, suggesting she was Meri's primary target. This wasn't just a simple disagreement or a story of a strict aunt. This was a public, formal accusation of long-term abuse. Mykelti stated that Meri was not a very good parent, and that her behavior was the reason she has drawn a permanent, brutal line in the sand. She is not, nor will she ever be, part of my life nor my husband's or my kids' lives because of the trauma I experienced as a child. This wasn't just Mykelti's word against Meri's. Almost immediately, her siblings, the other children of Christine, began to corroborate the story, and their details were even more chilling. Her brother, Kody Robyn, went on his own YouTube live and confirmed Mykelti's assessment, saying that describing Meri as abrasive and kind of mean are not strong enough words. They are not aggressive enough words. He then, with a dark and knowing look, implied the abuse was far worse than just words. When a co-host asked him if Meri's behavior moved past verbal, Kody's response was terrifying. Oh, it moves so far past verbal. Verbal basically stopped existing. He ended his thought with the single most damning sentence of all, "No, we were never safe around her." But the final nail in the coffin came from Mykelti's sister, Gwendolyn. On her own channel, Gwendolyn not only confirmed that she, too, found Meri rude and scary, but she gave the most specific allegation of all. Gwendolyn claims she personally witnessed Meri get physical with Mykelti. Suddenly, this was no longer a vague allegation. It was a unified front from 3 of Christine's children, all pointing to Meri as a source of physical and emotional trauma, a dark secret the family had kept hidden for over 20 years. And this is where the story and the user's title gets complicated. Just as the fanbase was ready to condemn Meri, Mykelti threw a curveball that has left fans baffled. In the same breath that she accused Meri of abuse and banned her from her children's lives, Mykelti also said, "They are cordial." This is the great contradiction. Why would you be cordial with an abuser? The answer, it seems, is money. Mykelti and Meri are both deeply involved in the same multi-level marketing company, LuLaRoe. This financial entanglement means they are forced to cross paths at company conventions and on incentive trips. Mykelti is, in essence, drawing a personal boundary but maintaining a professional one. But for fans, this looks like the ultimate hypocrisy. How can you, on one hand, claim a person is so toxic and abusive that your children can never be near them, but on the other hand, be willing to stand in the same room, smile, and be cordial for the sake of a business? This is the too nice angle. It suggests Mykelti's moral outrage has a price tag, and that she's willing to compartmentalize her trauma when a paycheck is on the line. She even softened the blow in her own video, saying she doesn't think Meri is a terrible person, just not a nice person. A bafflingly weak descriptor for someone you've just accused of being an abusive monster. But the too nice criticism goes even deeper, and it reveals the true, baffling agenda at play. Mykelti's outrage is incredibly selective. While she is publicly blasting Meri for her childhood, she has, for years, been the primary defender of the family's other villains, Kody and Robyn. Mykelti and Tony are one of the few branches of the family who have remained in Kody's inner circle, visiting the McMansion and maintaining a relationship with the man who abandoned her mother. In fact, Mykelti has publicly blamed Meri for her own marital problems, siding with Kody. In another paid video, Mykelti went on a rant about Meri's catfishing scandal, saying, "When you cheat on someone, you're giving up first. It's unfair for her to get mad at Dad when she gave up. She threw the towel in. This is the smoking gun." Mykelti is willing to forgive, or at least overlook, Kody's years of neglect, his abandonment of Christine, his refusal to attend Isabel's surgery, but she is holding Meri accountable for a catfishing scandal that happened a decade ago and for her childhood trauma. This selective outrage is what has fans furious. She is attacking a woman who is, by all accounts, another one of Kody's victims, while simultaneously protecting the man who caused the most pain. So, is Michael T. Brown being too nice to Meri? The answer is a complicated no. She's not being nice at all. She's being strategically, and perhaps hypocritically, cordial for business reasons. The real question is why she is being too nice to Kody and Robyn. By publicly blasting Meri, Michael T. isn't just a survivor speaking her truth. She's a player in the ongoing Brown family civil war. Her loyalty is to her mother, Christine, and to her father, Kody. In her mind, Meri is the one person she can attack who has no real power left, and who happens to be a convenient scapegoat for both her parents. Michael T. has confirmed that Meri was not a very good parent. But in the process, she has exposed her own baffling alliances and a moral compass that seems to spin wildly, pointing away from the family's true patriarch. She has drawn a line in the sand against her abuser, but she is still standing on the same side of it as the man who created the entire dysfunctional, abusive system in the first place. For over a decade, we were sold a carefully curated, heavily edited lie. We were told the Brown family, the stars of Sister Wives, were a shining example of the plural family principle. We were told this was a story about faith, about sisterhood, and about a group of women who, despite their jealousies, had come together to raise their 18 children as one, single, unified, loving family. We were told that Kody Brown was the patriarch, but that Meri, Janelle, Christine, and Robyn were all moms to all the children. But now, that entire facade has been shattered. As the Brown family empire has crumbled, Kody's ex-wives have fled, and the children, now adults, are finally speaking their truth. And that truth is darker, messier, and more toxic than we ever could have imagined. While most of the world has been focused on Kody and Robyn as the primary villains, Christine's daughter, Michael T., has stepped forward to expose a different, and perhaps more insidious villain who was hiding in plain sight, Kody's first wife, Meri Brown. In a series of shocking confessions, Michael T. has blasted Meri, labeling her as aggressive, abusive, and in the most damning quote of all, not a very good parent. The truth, as it so often does, did not come out on the censored, TLC-produced television show. It came out on the new frontier of reality TV drama, the kids' paid subscription channels. On her Patreon live stream, Michael T. Brown, joined by her husband Tony, finally unleashed what appears to be decades of suppressed trauma. When asked about her relationship with Meri, Michael T. did not hold back. She stated, reading from prepared notes to ensure she got every word right, that Meri Brown was very emotionally and verbally abusive to all of us when we were younger. She painted a picture of her childhood that stands in stark contrast to the one we saw on television, one where Kody's first wife was not a loving aunt, but a source of fear. Michael T. described Meri's personality as aggressive, rude, and scary, and then went even further, claiming that out of all the original 12 children, she and her siblings all agree that she, Michael T., got the brunt of it and was Meri's primary target. This is a bombshell that recontextualizes every interaction we have ever seen between them. It's not just a story of a strained relationship. It's a public accusation of long-term, targeted child abuse that, according to Michael T., was an open secret among the children. This was not just Michael T. airing old grievances for clicks. This was her delivering a final, permanent judgment. The most devastating part of her confession was not the accusation, but the sentence she handed down. Michael T. stated, in no uncertain terms, that because of this history, Meri Brown is effectively excommunicated from her life, and more importantly, from the lives of her grandchildren. Michael T.'s exact words were, "She is not, nor will she ever be, part of my life nor my husband's or my kids' lives because of the trauma I experienced as a child growing up." This is the ultimate, irreversible consequence of the failed plural family. She has drawn a boundary so thick and so permanent that it ensures her 3 children, who are, by the family's own plural logic, Meri's grandchildren, will never even know her. She has effectively labeled Meri an unsafe person, a not very good parent who, as a result, has lost the privilege of ever being a grandparent to her kids. For Meri, a woman who has already lost her husband, her sister wives, and her entire place within the family structure, this final, brutal rejection from the children she helped raise is perhaps the most devastating blow of all. It is a public declaration that, in Michael T's eyes, Meri is a persona non grata in the new, free, post-Kody Brown world. And if you thought this was just Michael T being dramatic or perhaps misremembering her childhood, her siblings immediately came forward to corroborate her story, and their details were even more chilling. Her brother, Kody Robyn, was the first to back her up, going on his own YouTube live and stating that the words abrasive and kind of mean are not strong enough words, they are not aggressive enough words to describe Meri. He then, with a dark, knowing look, implied that the abuse was far worse than just verbal. When a fan in the chat asked him if Meri's behavior moved past verbal, Kody gave the most terrifying answer possible. Oh, it moves so far past verbal. Verbal basically stopped existing. He ended his thought with the single most damning sentence of all, "No, we were never safe around her." This claim of physical abuse was then, shockingly, witnessed and confirmed by his sister, Brown. On her own YouTube recap channel, Gwendolyn, who is also called Meri rude and scary, alleged that she personally witnessed Meri get physical with Michael D. Suddenly, this was no longer a vague story of a mean aunt or a strict sister mom. This was a unified, multi-child accusation of physical and emotional trauma that had been hidden from the cameras for decades, with Michael T., Kody, and Gwendolyn all pointing the finger at the same person. And so what happened? Why was Meri, according to these kids, so abusive? While the Brown children have been vague on the specific, past verbal incidents, a clear picture has emerged from fan theories and from the context of the show itself. In the chaotic Lehi, Utah house, there were over a dozen children, and each wife had a role. Christine was the primary homeschool teacher, the cook, and the nurturer. Janelle was the breadwinner, the one who was out of the house all day working a full-time job. Kody was, by his own admission, the fun dad who would flit in and out, but refused to be the disciplinarian. That left Meri. Meri, with only one child of her own, was, by default, the enforcer. She was the one left to maintain order, to lay down the law, and to, in her mind, discipline the 12 children who were not hers. It is clear that this discipline, in the eyes of the children, crossed a serious line and became abuse. We saw glimpses of this on the show. The infamous, cringy scene where Meri loudly and publicly shamed a teenage Michael T. in front of the entire family and the cameras for her clothing, an incident that clearly humiliated Michael T. It's a classic toxic dynamic. The parents who were actually responsible, Kody and Christine, failed to parent, forcing a resentful, unhappy, and power-hungry first wife into a role she was not equipped for, and she, in turn, allegedly took her anger and frustrations out on the children she felt were not her responsibility. And this is where the entire story and the user's title gets infinitely more complicated. Because just as the fanbase was ready to condemn Meri as the ultimate hidden villain, Michael T's own words started to unravel. The question is, if Meri was this abusive, traumatic monster, why is Michael T still, in her own words, cordial with her? In the same breath that she banned Meri from her kids' lives, Michael T admitted that she still sees Meri and interacts with her at business functions. The reason? Money. Both Michael T and Meri are, or at least were, deeply enmeshed in the LuLaRoe multi-level marketing pyramid scheme. This financial entanglement meant they were forced to be in the same rooms, at the same conventions, and on the same incentive trips. For many fans, this completely undermines the severity of her claims. How can you, on one hand, claim a person is so toxic and abusive that your children can never be near them, but on the other hand, be willing to smile and be cordial for the sake of a business? It suggests that Michael T's moral outrage has a price tag, that she's willing to compartmentalize her trauma when a free cruise or a commission check is on the line. And it's this baffling contradiction that makes fans ask, is she really a trauma survivor, or is she just being a hypocrite? But the hypocrisy of the LuLaRoe connection is nothing compared to the real hypocrisy, the one that exposes the entire baffling agenda at play. Mykelti's outrage is incredibly selective. While she is willing to publicly drag Meri, accusing her of being an abusive, not very good parent, she has, for years, been one of the primary and only defenders of the family's other two villains, Kody and Robyn. Mykelti and Tony are one of the few branches of the OG family who have remained loyal to Kody. They have visited the McMansion, they have defended Kody publicly, and Mykelti has, for over a decade, had a very close, personal bond with Robyn, the very woman her own mother, Christine, has named as the primary reason for the family's destruction. This is the great disconnect that fans cannot get over. How can Mykelti forgive Kody for abandoning her mother, Christine, for a decade? How can she forgive Kody for refusing to attend her sister Isabel's major, life-threatening scoliosis surgery? How can she forgive Kody for his years of proven neglect? Yet, she cannot forgive Meri for being mean to her as a teenager? It simply doesn't add up. The only logical conclusion is that Mykelti's attack on Meri is not just a simple, pure act of a victim speaking her truth. It is a strategic move in the ongoing Brown family civil war. Mykelti, above all else, is loyal to her mother, Christine, and, for some baffling reason, to her father, Kody. And who is the one person that both Kody and Christine mutually despise? Meri Brown. Mykelti has even gone on record blaming Meri for her own marital problems, attacking her for the catfishing scandal by saying Meri cheated first and threw the towel in, therefore justifying Kody's abandonment of her. By publicly attacking Meri, Mykelti does two things. She validates her mother Christine's long-standing, quiet hatred of Meri, and she curries favor with her father, Kody, by attacking his other ex-wife. She is, in effect, siding with her abusers against another one of their victims. So, is Mykelti Brown being too nice to Meri by only being cordial? The answer is no. The real question is why she is being so nice to Kody and Robyn. Mykelti has labeled Meri not a very good parent. But in doing so, she has exposed her own baffling alliances and a moral compass that seems to be spinning, pointing away from the true north of the family's dysfunction, Kody Brown himself. She is attacking a powerless, exiled woman, all while continuing to have family dinners with the king who sent her there. There are breakups, and then there is the complete and total psychological shattering of a 25-year-long spiritual covenant. For over a decade, we watched Christine Brown, the fun wife, the peacemaker, the beating heart of the Brown family, dedicate her entire life to a principle she truly believed in. She was the one who said, "I don't just want the man, I want the sister wives." She was the one who, despite being the basement wife in Lehi, fought to keep the family unit together, to raise her children, and to be a friend to her new sisters. But in the end, after a quarter of a century of sacrifice, she was left with nothing. The man she loved had grown cold, her family was fractured, and her spirit was broken. And while it is easy to point the finger at the obvious villain, the man-bun, perpetually angry patriarch Kody Brown, the real story is so much darker. This is not a story of a husband who left his wife. This is the story of a sister wife who was systematically undermined, gaslit, and ultimately erased by the other wife. This is the complete, devastating, and shocking story of how Christine Brown, in her own words, was betrayed by Robyn. To understand the depth of the betrayal, we must first go back to the beginning. We have to remember who Christine was. Before Robyn, Christine, despite her own insecurities, was a cornerstone of the family. She was the third wife, the one who broke the one-by-one mold, and she was, for all intents and purposes, the last OG wife Kody truly seemed to court. She was the primary homemaker, the one raising not just her own 6 children, but helping to raise all 12 of the original kids. When Robyn's arrival was proposed, Christine, more than anyone, was excited. She saw Robyn, who was younger and came from a polygamous background, as a potential ally, a true friend, and a way to finally have the functioning utopian sister-wife relationship she had always dreamed of. She famously said she was the one who begged for that fourth wife. She saw Robyn as a clean slate, a chance to finally get it right. But that hope, that optimism, was the first thing to be weaponized against her. The betrayal didn't start with the move to Flagstaff or with COVID. It started on day one. It started with a wedding dress. This is perhaps the most iconic and defining moment of the entire Sister Wives saga. It is the linchpin that holds the entire betrayal narrative together. In the lead-up to Kody and Robyn's spiritual marriage, Christine, as the fun wife and the one most excited for her new sister, was there to help. But she discovered a secret that cut her to the core. Kody had not just seen Robyn's wedding dress. He had actively participated in picking it out. To an outsider, this sounds trivial. But in the world of the Browns, it was a nuclear bomb. Christine, in a heartbreaking confessional, explained why. She revealed that in her own marriage to Kody years prior, she had wanted to show him her dress, to share that moment, and he had refused. He had told her it was bad luck, that it was against tradition, that it was something a husband simply does not do. He had enforced a rule on her, only to shatter that same rule for the new, skinny, soulmate wife. This was the moment Christine realized the rules were different for Robyn. And this is the first critical layer of the betrayal. Robyn, as the incoming wife, knew what Kody was doing. She knew she was getting special treatment that the other wives had been denied. A true sister wife, one committed to the principle of equality, would have stopped it. She would have told Kody, "No, this isn't right. This will hurt the other wives." But she didn't. She accepted this special treatment. She reveled in it. She smiled, picked out her dress with their shared husband, and in that one selfish act, she sent a clear message to Christine. "I am not your sister. I am your replacement." The next great betrayal was a strategic, calculated move disguised as a noble family sacrifice. When the family was in Las Vegas, they were, for a brief moment, on equal footing. Each wife had her own home, her own space, and they were all, in the eyes of their religion, equal partners. But Robyn had a problem. Her 3 children from her first marriage were not legally Kody's. Her ex-husband was a shadow, and Robyn, ever the strategist, wanted security. She wanted her children to be legally Browns. The solution? Meri, the first and only legal wife, would have to legally divorce Kody, so that Kody could then legally marry Robyn and adopt her children. On the surface, the show presented this as a tearful, selfless act on Meri's part. But for Christine, this was a devastating shift in the family's entire power structure. She had been in this family for 20 years. She had given Kody 6 biological children, had built a life, and had sacrificed everything for him. And now, she was forced to watch the newcomer, the wife of just a few years, be elevated to the only legal status. Robyn, in one fell swoop, had secured her position not as a sister wife, but as the wife. She secured the legal rights, the inheritance, the social security benefits, and the undeniable, permanent on-paper connection to Kody that none of the other wives would ever have. This was a betrayal of the plural promise. The family was supposed to be 4 equal spiritual marriages. But Robyn, with Kody's eager help, changed the game. It was now 1 legal, monogamous marriage and 3 spiritual girlfriends on the side. If the wedding dress was the first cut and the legal marriage was the power grab, then the COVID-19 pandemic was the public execution of Kody's marriage to Christine. And Robyn was the one who handed him the axe. When the world shut down, Kody Brown's narcissistic, control-freak tendencies went into overdrive. He created a list of insane, impossible rules for his family, rules that included wiping down mail with alcohol, changing clothes every time they came home, and a total ban on seeing anyone outside the family. But the family was fractured. Janelle's sons, Gabe and Garrison, were young men who had jobs and social lives. Christine's daughters were traveling. Kody used their refusal to comply as the perfect excuse to do what he had wanted to do for years: abandon them. He stopped coming to Christine's house. He stopped seeing his children. He blamed her for his absence, claiming she wasn't loyal enough to enforce his rules on her adult kids. Christine, desperate, did everything he asked. She stopped traveling. She isolated herself. She became a prisoner in her own home, all for the hope that her husband would come over and spend time with her and their daughter, truly. But he never came. He stayed at Robyn's, and then, in the single most jaw-dropping, infuriating, and validating moment in sister wives history, Christine learned the truth. In a conversation with Kody, she asked him point-blank why he was allowed to go to Robyn's house, but she and her children were not. She asked why Robyn's children could see Kody, but her children could not. Kody's defense? He had no defense. Because Christine then revealed what she had learned. Robynbrown, the wife who was so terrified of COVID that she had forced the entire family apart, the wife who had insisted on rules so strict that Kody could not see his own children, had a full-time nanny. A person, an outsider, was allowed to come and go from Robyn's quarantine bubble every single day, interacting with her, Kody, and their children. But Christine, Kody's wife, was not. This was the betrayal. It was the moment Christine and the entire audience realized it was never about the virus. It was about control. It was about favoritism. Robyn's need for a babysitter was more important than Kody's relationship with his daughter. Robyn, while preaching safety, was actively breaking the very rules she was using to keep Christine and Janelle isolated. It was a lie. A massive, gaslighting lie. And it was in that moment, as Christine sat in her confessional, laughing with the hysterical, manic energy of a woman whose entire reality has just been shattered, that she famously said, "I have been betrayed. The nanny was the lie." But Isabel's surgery, that was the final, unforgivable sin. This was the betrayal that went beyond Kody's marriage and into his role as a father. And it is the one act that Christine Brown will never, ever forgive. Christine's daughter, Isabel, had suffered for years from a severe, debilitating case of scoliosis. We had watched her season after season struggle with a painful brace, her curve getting worse and worse, until surgery was the only option. It was a major, terrifying spinal fusion surgery, and it had to be done on the East Coast. Isabel was understandably terrified, and she had only one request. She wanted her dad to be there. She begged her father to come with her. And Kody Brown, the man with 18 children, looked his daughter in the eye and said no. His excuse? COVID. He couldn't risk the travel. He couldn't be away from Robyn's tender-aged children for the weeks it would take to quarantine. He refused to be separated from Robyn. And so, Christine Brown, a single mother in all but name, was forced to fly across the country alone with her teenage daughter, hold her hand as she went under for a life-altering surgery, and manage her excruciating, difficult recovery all by herself. This is the ultimate betrayal by Robyn. Because a true sister wife, a true partner in a plural family, would never have allowed this to happen. A true sister wife would have looked her husband in the eye and said, "What is wrong with you? Your daughter needs you. I don't care about the rules. I don't care about the quarantine. Pack your bag, get on that plane, and you go be a father to your child. We will be fine." But Robyn didn't do that. She accepted Kody's presence. She allowed him to stay. She benefited from his decision, getting to keep her husband all to herself while her sister wife went through the single most traumatic event of her parenting life, completely alone. Robyn, by her silence and her acceptance, was an active participant in Isabel's abandonment. This was the moment Christine realized that Robyn didn't just not care about her, she didn't care about her children either. They were all disposable. And for Christine, the mama bear, the one whose entire identity was wrapped up in her kids, this was the end. You can betray her, but you do not betray her children. And so Christine left. She packed her bags, sold her house, and moved back to Utah, a free woman. But the betrayal from Robyn was not over. In fact, it has only intensified in the years since. The final, ongoing betrayal is the one we are all watching right now, Robyn's victim tour. In every single tell-all episode, in every confessional, Robyn Brown, the only wife Kody has left, the only wife he has been intimate with for nearly a decade, the only wife living in a $1 million home with him, sobs. She cries that she is the one who has been abandoned. She weeps that she is the one who dreamed of the big, happy family, and that Christine and Janelle ruined it for her. This is, without a doubt, the most insidious and manipulative betrayal of all. It is a level of gaslighting so profound. It's astonishing. Robyn Brown, the woman who actively hoarded the family's central resource, the husband, is now crying because the women she starved out finally decided to go find food elsewhere. She is the one who held the knife that Kody used to stab Christine in the back, and now she is weeping, claiming she's the one who is bleeding. She is rewriting history in real time, painting herself as the plural family's biggest advocate, while all of her actions for 12 solid years prove she was its single greatest saboteur. This is the betrayal that Christine is now forced to watch from afar. The woman who took everything from her now has the audacity to claim she is the one who has lost everything. It is the perfect, narcissistic end to a 25-year-long con. Christine didn't just leave Kody. She was forced out by Robyn. And that is a truth that no amount of tears, from Robyn or from Kody, can ever wash away.